Hey Gearfacts friends, today we're going to talk about how to buy and sell your music gear effectively. First of all, please share this video as far and wide as you can with anybody else you know in the music buying and selling business. I've been in that business for a very long time myself, and the ideas I'm about to share with you I think are glaringly underused, many lost opportunities for both buyers and sellers. Let's start with buying. For most of us, I think that's something that we do more often than selling. And you have to start with eBay, that massive market, that endless stream of material fulfillment. eBay is going to be with us for a very long time, and it is a great place to get some good deals on musical equipment, particularly when things are in auction format. Sometimes you can send an offer in the hope of getting an instant agreement, but I've found that this rarely results in a particularly good deal. Then of course there are some items that you can just click to buy it now. If that seller is a retailer, go to their actual website first and just see if it's a better deal, because eBay is an additional expense that that retailer would rather not have. So that's eBay out of the way. I think we all get it with eBay. It's been around for a long time. What's more exciting right now are the emerging marketplaces in Facebook, Reverb, Gumtree, Craigslist, even your local classifieds, local flea markets. All of those places are great sources of music gear. In these places you'll be negotiating directly with the person who is selling the item you want. Following these guidelines will lead you to exceptional deals whether you're buying or selling, and it can be rewarding in lots of ways. It also teaches you a lot about yourself. Let's take a look at them in detail. Rule number 1, be polite, friendly and casual. This sets the scene for good business. A classic example of what not to do is sending a message with a simple numeric offer. Or worse still, just asking the seller, what's your best price? That's just sad. Show a bit of personality. Remember, this is social media and interpersonal buying. It's not the cold, numeric environment of eBay. Make your first approach to the seller an act of friendliness. I once had a potential buyer approach me and say, I'll give you $100, not a penny more. He walked away empty-handed. You will always get what you give in these social buying situations. It's human nature. Number 2, know a bargain when you see it. If it's a bargain, just buy it. Don't jerk the seller around in any way at all. Remember, time will be of the essence if something is going for a really good price, so get in quickly. Send the seller a message with everything that they want to hear. For example, hey there, person's name, this looks like a great deal. I'm happy to pay your asking price and I can collect it this afternoon if you like, or at any other time that's convenient for you. And if you like, I can send a deposit right now to secure the item. Make it all clear, friendly and convenient from the seller right from the beginning. Secure that item before anyone else gets in, because the wolves will be at the door. Some prices are just plain excellent, and if you're smart, you'll recognize it, respect it and act on it. Just a little story, one of the best deals I ever got was from a lady not far from here who was selling a Yamaha P45 piano for only $50. So I jumped in quickly, drove across town and got that deal. By the time I'd arrived though, she'd had several offers for under $50. Those people missed out because they just didn't see the good deal that was in front of them. They were too greedy. Rule number 3, don't lowball or act like you're doing the seller some kind of favor by buying their item. I know some people do this just as a starting point for negotiations, but it's just plain annoying. And the fact is, it's unethical, and I'll talk more about the actual monetary value of good ethics later on in this video. Also, a warning about lowballing. People can get very upset about it, and their responses can range from time-wasting lectures right through to being given an incorrect address way across the city, only to discover that the seller had no intention of showing up. Don't lowball, it's nothing but trouble. Rule number 4 follows on quite neatly from the last one. Don't be a wise guy. Don't put the seller down, don't put the item down, don't be overly critical, don't play mind games. Apart from being unethical, it rarely gets results. It puts up a wall between you and the seller. Some people might argue, yeah, but the harder you push in any way you can push it, you'll get a better deal. Well, technically no, you won't, because for every one good deal that you get, you're going to lose 5 deals, because the seller just didn't want to talk to you anymore. Nobody likes a wise guy. Even if you are wise and you are a guy, don't put those two things together. It's just not a cool way to be. Rule 5. When you make your first offer, it's good to have some reason to justify it. Don't just make a lower offer for absolutely no reason, because you might be questioned on that. And you could end up looking like a bit of a time waster. You've made positive contact with the seller and you're at the front of the queue, although never assume that, and you're about to commence proper negotiations. You know what your maximum price is and they know their minimum. If the price is already kind of reasonable but you want to get it down a little bit, take a good look all around the item. Make a mental list of all the things that are slightly wrong with it, little blemishes, and take modest amounts off for each of those little problems. Then when you're discussing it with the seller, you can have reasons for bringing that price down. Some sellers will counteroffer, some will just accept. But the lesson here is that more deals will be lost than made if you don't negotiate logically. Rule 6. This one's a simple one, but it's very good standard practice, and that is to stay friendly even if you can't reach an agreement with the seller. There's always a chance they might get back to you at another time if they've been unable to find a buyer, and if you've left on good, positive, friendly terms, there's every chance that'll happen. It will not happen if you've parted acrimoniously. And just a little more about being friendly. Friendliness is so important. It connects people and it facilitates business. Your seller might be different from you in many ways, but friendliness is a universal language. This is one of the reasons I love community buying and selling, because it connects people with common interests. It also reuses and revitalizes the equipment. Rule 7. This one's a bit complex, but it's really worth doing, and it will lead you to some awesome bargains. Some of the best deals I've ever had have been made by making myself the solution to transport problems. A lot of people will list things as pickup only. Seems that if it's any bigger than a laptop, people will just say, "Oh, no, can't post that, you'll have to come to me." And that simply isn't true. Anything can be freighted. Even your local post office will handle objects that are surprisingly large and heavy. So how is this helpful? Well, the truth is, the person who lists something as pickup only has cancelled out 95% of the market, and as such, their item is now going to sell for a much lower price. Now you can capitalize on this by getting in touch with this person. Again, very friendly, very helpful, very clear, and saying to them something like, "Hey, I saw your item, but I am in another town. Maybe I could send you the packing materials and maybe some stamps or a prepaid postage label," something like that. And you could just drop it in a mailbox for me or drop it in at the post office for me. That would be great. I'll even give you an extra $20 for your trouble. Even with something big like an 88-key electronic piano workstation, offer to buy a keyboard case and have it couriered to the person's house so they can just chuck it in that bag, then send another courier to come and pick it up. It's a lot of trouble and it might cost you a couple of $100, but sometimes this can result in phenomenal deals. If they're selling it for only $100 and it's worth $600, then you're way ahead. And I don't mean to be critical of people who do pick-up only listings, but it does kind of show that they're lazy. They really want to do the absolute minimum to get this item out of their house. Their comfort is worth more than the amount of money they could conceivably get for it. Pick-up only items sell so cheap, and if you're organized and a good communicator, you can really reap the benefits. Be the solution to transport problems. My final tip, number 8, this one's really only for people who plan to do a lot of buying and selling, and it's not so much about getting a good deal, it's about your peace of mind. And that is, we have to accept that you will get ripped off occasionally. I've found that about 1% of my transactions are misleading, a bit of a con, or just straight up fraud. Remember that there are civil avenues that you can take to deal with this kind of thing, but most of the time all you can do is just notify other people, report the seller any way you can, and just move on. Because usually there's no way to fix it. So don't sit there ruminating over it and getting all angry. Just write it off as a business expense. If you lose $100 today to a fake seller, just remember the $1,000 that you've saved in all the other great deals you've had. My crossover tip as we move into selling is always be ethical. And I'm not just being a philosopher here. Devious trading, sure, it does lead to the occasional good deal, but it also leads to bad feedback, returns, cancelled agreements, wasted time, and bad business relationships. Again, when trading person to person, you will reap what you sow. And there it is, friends, off script now. Those are my tips for buying on social networking platforms. The techniques work face-to-face, by email, through any other messaging system, even on eBay. And if you develop your own style of buying and selling based on these tips that I've given you, I really think you'll benefit from it, as I have over my 10 years with Gearfacts. It's also enabled me to bring you all those wonderful reviews. So, like, comment or subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Here's a summary of what's in this video. I'll include it as text in the description, along with some draft messages and anything else helpful that I can think of. See you in part 2, in which we'll talk about effective selling.